I think it's looking way too like, I don't know, someone sticks something up its butt. Biggest factor playing in quality of model, in my opinion, is just the handmade details. One of the best models that I ever got my hands on this series. Hey, welcome to another episode of 3D Gems, where I pick 3 different models that you've sent me and I make them even better. Today we're focusing on bovine face form sculpting, sauropod anatomy, and finally handmade details with some extra tips from me. Watch the video until the end not to miss those. Let's get this bread. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Gems, where I critique and show how to improve your 3D models. Our first entry is by Paleotime 1998, and he asks me to give some feedback on the face of this Bison latifrens, which is an extinct species of a bison. Pretty self-explanatory. So by the looks of it, you got the anatomy in place, like the base, very basic anatomy in place. Might seem a bit sharp and like rigid, especially on the arms. They feel very like cubical for some reason. But yeah, let's just focus on the face, and in order to do that, let's move to ZBrush. Alright, so here we go. We just went straight into ZBrush, and I got prepared some references. Here, a Bison sculpt, which is really awesome, by Dmitry Prosov. I will link if you want. You can buy it. It's really cool. And yeah, I will use it as a reference. I hope I don't get into trouble by doing it. But yeah, so let's take a look at our Bison, and we can see quite a bit of a difference in the way that it is sculpted. Alright. So, I think the most striking thing first would be the front view. This is way too bulky. Way too bulky. I would imagine a slight, not imagine, but I can see a slight dip right here. Maybe bring the muzzle in a little bit. It's like super rounded. I don't know if that's what's supposed to happen. Yeah, there you go. I think that all of these muscles here are way too popping out, and then obviously we need to respect the skeletal that is underneath. Let's see how much can we. Okay, we cannot change too much. We can change a little bit. Okay. And now I would build up. I would want to definitely ease in and out. Alpha 48. These orbital part basically, with some smooth alpha, preferably onto clay buildup, and just doing the build-up right here. Maybe also what you could consider is changing how the eyes look. Maybe subdivide it a couple of times. Mask out a part of this, like that. Do we have symmetry? No, we don't. So let's turn on symmetry. Mask out a part of this. Invert. Standard brush. Let's dig in quite a bit, and then let's add some volume right here. It should help a bit with the animal looking a bit more lifelike. Now it's looking very stressed, so to say. Okay, play build up, and right here we have some type of a form right here, probably some muscles. Let me just kind of visualize it. So got something going right here in the front, then it kind of like diverts. Is there such a word? basically divides. Yes, divides. We got something happening right here. I think these are the facial musculature. I did grab some supplementary things, but we got frontalis, so I guess some muscle of the face. So yeah, this is honestly my first time sculpting a bull or a bovine. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it, right? So let's just. I am using the GeoSoft. You can, if you're in Blender, you can use like a mix of draw sharp and crease brush. Okay, I would build this up a bit right here, and then trim dynamic top part right here, and then smooth it out. I think it's looking way too like, I don't know, someone sticks something up its butt. So let's just create this shape of the eye right here, like an almond shape. Because right now it's non-existent, it's just the orbit, which is not really preferable. So let me just bring it down like that. Where are the corners? Let's just pay attention to the corners, how they are placed in proportion to other parts. Okay. And I think it's just how the animal looks. The eyes are kind of popping out from the skull. It's like pretty interesting compared to other animals that like, or for example, us humans. It's just a bit different. And let's make sure that the eyelids, they are wrapping around the eye. This is pretty important, and a thing that you should keep in mind always, pretty much. Okay. And can I? No, I cannot. All right. And then let's use the GeoSoft to kind of sculpt the corners a bit more. Oh, how about the eyes? Kind of getting covered too much. Also, another thing that you should keep in mind once again, it's that the top eyelid is basically going outwards more than the lower eyelid. Yeah, I mean, the eyes are, in my opinion, they're pretty tricky to do, so don't worry too much about it. Okay, let's take a look. How does the... Okay, so we got this bone right here, which would be probably our cheekbone. So let's just show that. I would dig in a bit right here, so that we got some type of bony landmark. And I wish if I turn on transparency, can we see? Maybe a different matcap will do. Nope. Nope. Okay, maybe this one. Well, it's very, very slight. Damn it. Okay, maybe this one is actually pretty good. So yeah, let's just dig in that area where it would be pretty hollow. And then where we have our bone, let's bring that in. Maybe it's a bit too much, but we shall see how it will play out. Okay, let's get back to... Actually, let's use this one. I like this matcap. Maybe trim dynamic to ease it out, because smooth brush and ZBrush, it's pretty aggressive in my opinion. So you have to be really careful how you use it. Let's just create the planes a bit clearer. And I just might want to actually decrease. And another thing that I'm gonna do is like lasso, and I wanna just do this, and we can actually hide the rest if we want. But yeah, so that we do not get distracted by the rest of the body. Alright, let's build up, because we can see that this part, the orbit, is built up with quite a lot of wrinkles and similar stuff. So just do that. Also the eyelids, yes, of course. Maybe actually we can work with this amount of polygons. Alright. Let's take a look at a side view. Yeah. Okay, so this should dip in a little bit. I will also create, like you can see there are quite a bit of skin folds or some type of like tissue surrounding the horn. So I think this adds quite a lot of lifelike characteristic when you add this around the horn. So I would highly suggest you do that. Okay. This, and yeah, actually I I missed it. There are no ears. Holy moly. Let's add ears. Append. Let's grab this cylinder. Scale it. Rotate it 90 degrees. Put it like this. I think it is quite squished. Oh. Squished here as well. Let me just rotate it, scale it down. Because I don't know, it's like a very good practice whenever you are sculpting a mammal of any sort. It's like a humanoid character, and it should have ears at the ears, because it will play a huge role in the likeness, basically. So I definitely wouldn't skip that. Okay. BMV, and let's just put it in its place, basically. And smooth it if we want. How is the front looking? Okay, the front. Okay, the ears are pretty long. So let's respect that. Standard brush to dig into the ear, because usually you want to dig in a lot into ears whenever you are making them. Okay, and then you can see that the top part, it is quite thick, so let's use inflate brush. Inflate it, and it is kind of going a bit more in front compared to the lower part. Okay, let me just mirror that as well. Okay, and I don't know if we can, but we could bring the muzzle in. Yes, we can. It was just, super bulky at first. So that is something that I wouldn't do. But obviously maybe we can add the masseter muscle a bit more vividly, so to say. So let me just build this huge block of muscle. The Geosoft kinda make this play nicely into our whole structure. And then let me just show some more. Okay, so we got orbicularis going around it. So just slightly showing it, but it will be covered by wrinkles, so it's not that important in my opinion. Okay, we've got some of these muscles. Then levator muscle. Okay. Okay, I think the master, it was just inserted a bit too low. So let me just redo that slightly. The muzzle, okay. Now this muzzle isn't really covered here, so sadly we cannot do too much about it. Oh, we can see on this graph there are like these striations going around from the eye, basically. And then the cornea, or the corner of the eye, it's quite big. Right here. Maybe we'll have to push it out just a bit. Okay. Bison. Okay. And you said something about lips, so let's take a look at our lips. Well, let's build up the chin, most importantly. From the looks of it, the chin is a bit bigger. And yeah, like, I don't know, this shouldn't really exist, this like differentiation of the lip and the whole. Yeah, the lip is basically pretty big, I would say, in this animal. Maybe not that thick as I did it. Also, let's pay attention to the nose. How is it looking? So yeah, we got this, but the shape is quite different. Here we have a bit square-ish. We have a dip, and we have kind of like a circular shape right here. And it's pretty much just merging with our lip for the most part. And then also merging here, but there is some slight differentiation. I'm still not sure about the eyes entirely, but if that's how they are supposed to look, then so be it. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at this again. Maybe the eyes are too big. Or maybe let's just follow what we have right here. So build that up slightly. You know, when you add wrinkles and stuff, it will also look differently. And yeah, the shape is not that what I was expecting. And yeah, if you notice, I'm sticking to like rather low poly count right now when I'm building that structure up. So this is another thing to keep in mind, basically. Okay, there's some like wrinkles from here going around it. So there's quite a lot of stuff going on, to be fair. Maybe let's not make it too chaotic. Let's build up some of those facial structures. So we have like these lines going about here. Let's take a look from the side if possible. Yep. So what am I getting from this? Oh, there we go. Let's get rid of that. I think it was just a bit too much. And yeah, the lip is giving that extra volume, but not as much as you'd expect, basically. Okay. Let's just let it out to save. Yeah, there we go. Let's move that out. Geosoft. Play it nicely into the whole structure. So what are we getting from this? We are getting this line, the upper line, and there's like a kind of like shotgun shape. I don't know how to call it. Oh yeah, there we go. We got a shotgun right here. Double barrel shotgun. Playing nicely into the whole structure. Get some stuff happening right here, and then another bigger wrinkle surrounding the eye area. I think there's a slight bump happening right here. Okay, I think I know what the issue is. So the eyelids, they should come in a little bit while they are covered by the eye folds over it. So let me just grab this one. Okay, you come in, the eye also in. Yeah, that's a little bit nicer. Then we can smooth it around. Oh, we got bone right here. Okay, well, that sucks. Wait, what? Let me see. Huh. Okay, so we cannot play with it too much. Okay, and then the lips. Okay, maybe this should have a bit more volume. When I'm thinking about it, no. Maybe a front view could be helpful. Okay, let's see. Yeah, whoa. I've added way too much volume for those masseter muscles, jaw muscles. And I think this is also kind of bloated a bit. Not this, but this. Then it dips in. Okay, and then the Geosoft to kind of play a bit with our nose. Because who knows? Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit weird, I have to agree. Like this part. They build up. Then dig in right here. Dig in right here. Yeah, it's also gonna look a bit less appealing because you didn't add teeth, so kind of like a grandpa bison. Okay, let's see how does it look. Yeah, I think it's better. I mean, obviously there is so much improvement to be done. But that's how I would imagine it for the most part, based on this really awesome sculpt, this reference. But let's take a look at the slit. Oh my bad, I think I made those stand out a bit too much. So yeah, I mean, Blender doesn't have it, has it, but it is not as easily accessible. If you're using clay buildup, try to find alphas similar to this. I'm sure you can find it somewhere. Actually, one more look at the horns. How are they looking? Okay, a bit more like this. And then, yeah, the ears. You will take care of them. The ears. Also, maybe the orbits. Yeah, so I try not to play too much into details. For the most part. Okay, let's dig in here a bit more. And, still staying at the same poly count. Anything else? Just, taking my time with these details. I don't know what else to do right now, but we shall see. You could also probably, the dual part could be brought in. Like this. I don't know, the eyes still seem really huge to me, but it's an extinct animal, so, probably worked slightly different. At the same time, not too different. Maybe Let's make these bigger, actually. Just maybe. Clay buildup. Oh, brush clay buildup. And also what I can see right here, very slightly, but kind of like some type of shape right here. So maybe let's just try and replicate it. I'm just reading what's here. From dynamic to to clean it up a little bit. Smooth the transition slightly. Maybe let's actually just move it more towards here. Okay. Finding the right volume. Maybe a different. Let's see in a different setting. If I try and smooth it out. And, you know, move the lower eyelid in. What if I move the eye out slightly? Maybe let's try a different angle. Oh, we got this, we got that, we got pretty much everything. Find the right volume right here. Not to create too much of a dip. And yeah. Probably fill that area in. Because I took away too much from it. Let's find a Bison. But yeah, based on what you got. The ear actually, let's put it where it should be, so somewhere about here, I believe. That's gonna change a few things. Still feel like the eye is a bit too small. I mean, too big. You know, I might be wrong. What is this bone? Wait, never mind. Let's put the eye here. What about here? Wait, what if I was wrong the whole time and the eye just should be a bit more front facing? That could be also an issue. Let's see. Yeah. The eyes are a bit more front facing. I think that's what also lies a bit of a I mean, not a bit, but plays quite a big role. The eyes being front facing. Yep, I think that's nicer. Alright, let's just compare these models really quickly and we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so we are back in ZBrush and there we go. Here, voila, here's the difference. I think it's the biggest difference that I have ever made upon someone sculpt, because it was like this one was pretty much just an empty canvas for the most part. Let me just change up the focal length, maybe cavity. No, it makes it look bad. Yeah, basically just remade how the face looks and like 80%. I don't know what else to add, but just, you know, put some more time in it. I think, you know, adding ears themselves was a pretty big difference. That's why you should do it. It's not the dinosaurs, therefore it should have ears. So I hope that helps, and let's go to the next submission. Okay, just a quick exclaimer. That I noticed it today, so a few days after making the video, I mean the Bison video. But the thing is, the eyes, they don't need to fill out the orbits. I don't know why I was thinking that. For some reason I was just so locked in on the sculpt. Even in our anatomy, where you take a look at the human sculpt, there are a bunch of muscles that are like orbicularis muscles that are going around the orbit. So it wouldn't be any different in bovines. I think bovines. That's how you call the cow family of animals. The eyes, they can be a lot smaller, and making them a lot smaller would make the animal feel a lot more grounded and less cartoonish looking. So I just made the eye smaller. Used grab brush to move around the eyelids so that they wrap around the eye, and that's about it. Just wanted to tell you that. So yeah, let's move on to Isisaurus. Next submission is made by Trainspotting Vagabond, and he sent me this beautiful sauropod model, and honestly, it's I think one of the best models that I ever got my hands on this series. Okay, mainly he told me that he's struggling with the leg anatomy, and I think this is the only part that requires, let's say, immediate help. Other than that, I have just a couple of pointers, but they're not really like a big thing. But yeah, the leg anatomy, it definitely could use some work. Okay, so he sent me a bunch of references, which are pretty good. Like the amount of and the variety of these images, it can be a bit confusing. So my advice would be to just pick one reference, get multiple angles of it. So I see what you did here. You picked up the Amargasaurus from Path of Titans. So maybe if you want, you could pick like I don't know, some different dinosaur or some different model from Sketchfab, for example. And you basically pick out all of the angles, and you have your reference, because here it's a lot, so I can imagine it can be a bit confusing. So I will just I'll try my best to simplify it, but by the looks of it, I quite like how this Brachiosaurus looks, so we can use this one for reference. And then you somehow found like an extremely old model by Barzi. But the anatomy is actually really well done here. And oh, I brought also this reference just to help out in a crochet. So the only bony landmarks that we're gonna get is just gonna be the little itsy bit right here, and the leg, the bone peeking through here. And these are the only bony landmark, let's say. Sometimes we have like a bit flatter area right here because of the bone, and just it's flat because dinosaurs most likely they did not have kneecaps. But Like it probably depends on the species and so on, but I'm not that much of an expert. I'm more of an artist. Okay. Okay, so I think the most major thing, you did draw it pretty much alright, but the thing is the muscles are intersecting with each other and there are hierarchies. So one muscle is going to be going under another one and etc etc. So I would pull this muscle up a little bit. So it is gonna be quite bulky, yes. Okay, perfect. But it's also going to come under the upper leg, let's say, and it's going to create like this kind of circular silhouette right here. And it's gonna peek out and then come in again. Maybe it's too big of a bull bull muscle. You can drag this in as well. Oh wait, 1 second. Let me turn on symmetry. Yeah, perfect. So it is brought up, so this is perfect because we are going to get that silhouette, but I would just make the silhouette a bit more rounded out. Okay, like that. Perfect. This insertion is a bit lower. Perfect. We got this. We got a bunch of tendons right here, so this also is going to have like this half circle silhouette in the front as well. Okay, perfect. And don't mind it, but I will smooth it out. I'll smooth it out because the bony landmark isn't necessarily correct. Okay, I'm gonna grab the Geosoft because I like it a lot. And we're just gonna draw out the calf again. Like this. Okay, and it's going to attach somewhere about here. Okay, maybe we can just clean it up a little bit. Make it a bit more circle shaped. Okay, and then somewhere around, let me show you on the crochet. We're gonna simplify it. So somewhere about here, we're gonna get a muscle that's in front of that is mostly seen in front. Right here. Okay, perfect. We get this. Okay. And then, as you can see, the actual upper leg muscles, they extend quite below. You can see like this muscle tape going quite a bit low. So I will pull this down as well. So, oh, and let me turn on symmetry. I'll pull this down to around, I don't know, 1/3 of the lower leg. I'm just gonna make sure that it wraps over the lower leg nicely. And something similar to that. Okay. Perfect. Oh, I'm just gonna grab also this one, and it goes around like under this bigger chunk, which is, you know, this one that goes like this. You got one chunk, and then the other one, the calf goes and attaches to the femur. Yes, femur attaches somewhere out here, and we got this, but this is basically covered by the red one. The red muscle group, let's say. Okay, we want to have the silhouette done nicely, because this silhouette is the king always. And I always like to use trim dynamic here a bit to show basically that bony landmark. Okay, maybe we can clean this up a little bit so that the shape that we can see right here, it's just a little bit cleaner. so you can maybe smooth it out also. Okay, brush the geosoft. I'm gonna just make sure that this muscle is a bit more visible. Okay, and then from here we also get another muscle. When we look at the crochet, it attaches somewhere around the middle, in the middle point of the calf muscle. So if we want, we can just either grab this, or we could just kind of make like another muscle object if you want to do that. But the thing is, do we want to stick to this, or do we want to stick to the more simplified? We said we want to stick a bit more to the simplified version. So in the simplified, we also have this muscle. Let me show it to you. Well, that's the thing with like interpretations and everything. There are just many ways to go about this. So we have this muscle right here that's kind of squished between the larger chunk right here and the chunk that's at the back of the leg, and it attaches somewhere around here. So it would need to go here, and then it would like cut the, by the looks of it, would cut the calf actually. And it seems that we might, if we follow this reference, we need to move it slightly back, like so. Okay, then pull this. It's important to pay attention to the silhouette from many angles, and we can see here it's a bit extending to the back a bit too much. So I would just flatten it a little bit, because the calves, they should be like rather rounded out. They should have rounded out shape. So why not do this? Gonna add some volume to it. And then we also need to play a bit with the silhouette. Yeah, because you can draw things on it, but if it doesn't have the right shape, well, you're cooked. Pretty much. That's why I don't really like sauropods, but don't tell it anyone. It's a bit wavy, so let me just redo that, my bad. And I'm just gonna grab stroke, lazy mouse, lazy radius, lazy smooth a little bit. And there are, as I told you, there are like many ways to go about this. Because there are old reconstructions, new reconstructions, detailed reconstructions, simplified reconstructions. It's just confusing, very confusing. Okay, and let's just draw out this and this, and then we're gonna pull that in. Yeah, we can smooth that out a little bit. I would move it maybe slightly like that. Okay. Yeah. But we need to fix the overall shape, my bad. Yeah, that's actually way better. And the leg, we skipped that, my bad. The leg, we skipped the inner part, but it's pretty simple. So we got the calf right here. And then from the front, we also have like this bony landmark. Yep, right here. Like what you had here was actually decent. But this also gets divided in half because there are two muscle groups right here. Right here, my bad. Oh, we don't want it black. Something like that should honestly work wonders. Okay. And then in here, yes, in here we have an insertion basically of another muscle. Okay, that should be better. And I saw another thing, which is that like connection, and I would move it a bit closer to the leg. Maybe a bit, okay, maybe not lower, but I would move it a bit closer to the body, not going out so much. Something like that would be a bit more accurate. Okay, and another thing, which are the pecs, because the pecs are pretty much non-existent in your sculpt. I'm just gonna draw them out. Like that. This shape. And then the tricky part is, let me show it to you on a crochet. Like that. And let me just draw them. It kind of acts like another deltoid because it attaches to the ulna, I think. Oh, the geosoft. Oh, no, the geosoft. What did I do? No, go back. Something happened. I'm not sure what happened, but the alphabet changed. Just some weird stuff. Okay. So let's just pay attention to this. Oh, and no, we're good actually. And I wanna grab this a bit lower so we got some actual volume. And where do these? Oh yeah, and also the deltoid, it doesn't work like this necessarily. And I would definitely bring the bicep in because there is like no place for the deltoids and pecs to like kind of attach to. And I don't know if you can see it, but basically the muscle like shrinks and then it attaches underneath the biceps. So I would also do that, and to get that like shape that it's like going underneath, like it's hard to explain, but it basically shrinks down, loses volume. So let me just do that real quick. And then the same would happen to the pectoralis. So let me grab that. So let me just also show where the deltoids really are. Okay, and I want to build that up. Just like this. And like a fan-shaped. It's a fan-shaped muscle. The pectoralis. It's going right here. Let me just draw the border. Clay build up, my bad. And I'm just gonna build it up. And even it out also. Okay, smoothing it out slightly. The geosoft. Smoothing. And it's already starting to look a bit more lifelike, let's say. Okay. How does it look from the side? Yeah, the deltoid is, I mean, the pecs is just slightly showing through. Like this. Polish it for even more. And then we can also, yeah, as you did, we can show the heads of the deltoid, basically. like this, and then we have teres, I think teres minor, teres major, one of these muscles right here. And then we can slightly smooth it out. All right. And then here, yes, we wanna also, oh, and here, I'm not sure. Okay, we got the that muscle, the lats, and I will just show them a little bit more because it's like a very major muscle that you wanna basically show it off, and it attaches a bit like lower in between the tricep heads. So I would just grab it. And here we can actually divide the tricep into two heads right here. So we got like the anterior and lateral head, I think. I don't remember the names. But the one in the back is like a bit bigger. The one here is a bit smaller. And then the lats attach, like go in between, let's say, these two heads. Okay. This is honestly pretty well done. I don't have too much to add to this, to the arm, but let's take a look from the front. Yeah, we can grab this one, put it in here, and then divide the bicep into two as well, because they're bicep, so they're two by two heads. Okay, smooth it out. We look from the side. Yeah, let me just divide this right here. Then from the inside also we have the division. Okay, perfect. This is honestly good, but what I would do, I don't know if you can see that, but the bicep, it basically comes down to this point. And it just goes in between the two groups, the flexors and the other group, and the extensors, let's say. Yeah. So the bicep would come in here. In between, let's say. Okay, perfect. Bring that in, and then we can also add some volume to the tricep because it's a strong animal. It walks on four legs, so also the front limbs need to be pretty damn strong in my opinion. So we can also pull this out, pull this in to have a nice silhouette. All right. So that looks way better. And then one more thing, which is the attachment of the head muscles. I would bring this in a little bit. I think that's my advice. Bring this in right here. Because it, at the base of the neck, it comes in, let's say. Maybe this in as well. Let's take a look from the top. I think the top is fine, to be honest. Oh, maybe we can bring this in slightly. Not too much though. Okay. Oh yeah, and the geosoft. At the back we also want to create that division between flexors and extensors. It's very similar, like Okay, so let's take a look at maybe a different matcap. Yeah. Oh, it can also take quite a lot of like tweaking and stuff to make it look better. As I said, I mean, I haven't said it, but it's far from being perfect, to be fair. So you can take your time with it. Okay. We got the deltoids, we got the teres minor, I think. We got the bony landmark right here, which is nice. We got the lats. The neck, yeah, I don't wanna talk about it too much. Oh, yeah. Well, another one small thing. Sauropods, they had lips. So let me show you. There was a cool yeah, this one. I always like to do this. So what I would do is start somewhere about here and just draw in those lips. It's more of a preference, so if you don't want to do that, don't do that, but it would start somewhere around the jugal. So probably right here, and then it's going like this. And then we don't have symmetry, which is not good. But I'm pretty sure the nostrils would be right about here. Yep. The nostrils would be here. But of course, if you wanna take like your artistic liberties, I'm pretty sure you could do that. And yeah, the next step, we could start working a bit on wrinkles. What else? I don't know, skin detail and stuff. So yeah, pay attention to the references, but you got quite a lot of them, so I'm not surprised that it was pretty confusing. Yeah. What else do we have? We have this thingy. Okay, so let me just compare before and after. Okay, so we are here in Blender, and let's compare these two. Okay, from the front, we basically moved the neck base a bit closer to each other. And yeah, we improved. Let me actually take a look. We basically improved the deltoids, the arm anatomy, the front limb anatomy. From the side, also limbs very much improved. The leg anatomy also different. We changed up a little bit of the face, but just tiny bit. From the top view, the neck was the biggest change. And yeah, like there weren't too many like mistakes or whatever. It just lacked some of that. Let me just move that in. My inner perfectionist is trying to make a move here. So yeah, it's a very nice model. I have to say, very nice model. It just needs some polish and then some details. I don't know how many details you want to add, but yeah, good luck with it. And let's jump into our last submission. Here we go. Here is the last entry, and it's made by Vuk. He made this really good looking Paleoloxodon or Paleoloxodon head sculpt. It was a few weeks ago, I believe 2 months ago maybe. We had a weekly challenge or bi-weekly challenge where it's still going actually. Right now it's Ceratosaurus, where we would make these sculpts, and he asked me for some feedback on it. So let's get into it. First of all, let's disable poly paint because it's unnecessary. And here are all of the references that we got. So structure wise, I don't think there's too many issues, to be fair. Let's see. Yeah, there isn't too many issues, but what I would do, first of all, I think the eyes are the most important part of pretty much every sculpt. So I would just dig in a little bit. I don't know if you watched my videos, but I always tell you to make the eyelids wrap around the eye. We had a close-up here. Yeah, there we go. The eyelids are always basically wrapping around. It's like a universal thing for whatever you are actually sculpting. Maybe invertebrates, that would be slightly different. But we didn't get any invertebrates in gems, actually, which is quite interesting. Okay, just building that up, and when you look from side, let's make it so that they wrap around. They're quite thick, so that's another thing. The eyelids are quite thick. But as I said, the base is decent. Now let's show that we actually have these eyelids right here. A bit of a corner. Oh, not a bit, but just a corner. And I'm just gonna chip away a little bit of that. Maybe trim dynamic to make planes a bit more visible of the eyelid. Oh, just like that. And then the geo. And then if you invert it, it will actually pull out a little bit right here. So I will pull this out. Do it like that. And the lower eyelid should be should come out less than the top eyelid. See the top eyelid? Yes, top eyelid has a bit more of a distance. Okay, perfect. Let's see another image maybe. Do we have more close-ups on elephants? Well, what you could do also, just a little bit more of those hand-drawn wrinkles. Just like that. Okay. And then optionally, what you could also do is, I'm gonna show you how to sculpt eyes really quickly. So you dig in the iris, pretty much. Or is it iris or is it? Oh, the colorful part of the eye. You grab standard brush, you dig in, move out slightly, and then let me actually divide it. Maybe can I divide it? I cannot. But I will create this part. Yes, I think this is the iris, or the the black part basically. Let me just since we did that, and I forgot to mirror. I'm gonna mask this out. Now I'm gonna just delete part that is untouched by symmetry. So how we can do that really quickly? Go to split unmasked points. Okay, perfect. And now those are split. I'll select this. It is selected, it seems. I will delete it. Okay, perfect. And I will select this, and from here I will just go to mirror on the x-axis, and we got the eye on both sides, which is awesome. Okay. Now, the biggest factor playing in quality of model, in my opinion, is just the handmade details. They always play a big role. Yes, of course, I'm not against alphas in any way, shape, or form, but hand sculpted details are always going to win. So, I think this will be a bit of a time lapse, but I will just try and play with what we have right here with those wrinkles. Maybe I can try and analyze it a little bit. Okay, this guy. I know it's not a Paleoloxodon, but what do we have? We have a bunch of wrinkles, and they're sometimes intersecting, sometimes not, but they're going like along the trunk. Then we have this type of wrinkles, and then they are curving a bit around here. They are dividing into these ones. Then we have some here. Then we have some close to the ear. Okay, bam, bam. Then they go like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. You have some here, and they're clashing together a little bit, but of course not too much. And then of course similar stuff, a bunch of like these A shapes, kind of V and A shapes, a lot of these. On bigger and smaller scale, they're basically intersecting, as I said, and then some of these are actually horizontal. It probably looks very, very weird, but this is how it looks. So we can try and copy it, but honestly, a big chunk of them is already present right here. But I'm just gonna show them a bit more. Okay, the mouth is really well done as well, but what I would do is dig in here quite a lot, honestly. Okay, perfect. And then let's just draw those wrinkles. And I'm using the GeoSoft and Blender Pro. It's an equivalent of Draw Sharp and a bit of crease brush. Other than that, it's just a bit hard to translate those skills from one software to another. Okay, like that. Here we go. Though I like how these are done. These large details on the trunk, because if you take a look at this one, yep, we got these. But here we have a bit of a division from the trunk. Because yeah, I mean, you can pretty much just analyze the concept from side, but you also need to look at it from front. Just another challenge. Okay, the ears. We could just build up those wrinkles. They are coming from like all of these sides. So just clay strips. Clay build up from all of these, and then you're sculpting, building up, and then from time to time you also want to dig in, and then you're just creating some of that randomness, basically, which is really nice when it comes to organic stuff. I very recently learned that. Just not pressing too much right here. Yeah, here we go. Maybe we can smooth out a little bit. And yeah, the bad thing. Okay, so if you are running into this, there's a quick fix. I learned it very recently from my friend. Go to brush. You go to auto masking, and you select back face masking. And whatever you do here, it will not affect the other side of the mask. So we can kind of smooth it out from this side, and it will not affect this, basically, which is really, really cool. All right, and then just building that up. Yeah, it might seem a bit chaotic, and here is where you can actually play with everything. Play with the wrinkles, play with the skin detail. Okay, maybe I just went a bit overboard here. Let's take a look at the side. Yep, there we go. I would exaggerate this thing on the head of Paleoloxodon a bit more. Just dig in here more as well with Geosoft. So that these details, they basically need to make sense. They're not here just they are, but they need to connect and they need to work together. So this is also a pretty big thing that you should pay attention to. Okay, here I think I like this, so this might do that big wrinkle right here. I mean, 2 wrinkles. Yeah, so elephants, they're very wrinkly. Like that's a thing that you need to keep in mind. Basically, they are very wrinkly animals. Okay, now let's turn on our poly paint. And I'm gonna show you another cool thing. Oh, yeah. Did we have a top view of this? Yep. There we go. So from top view, it tapers down and then it drastically goes to the sides. So that's another thing. And then the throat part, it usually tapers down quite a bit because there is just a bunch of loose skin. Okay, and then I don't know, I just like to do trim dynamic here. Clean this up. Okay. We got this, and have you painted? No, you have not. So, cool trick. If you want to do a poly paint, a really cool poly paint, let me take a look at the reference. Yeah, okay. Let's pick some color. So brush, standard brush, RGB. Let's turn on RGB. Let's pick this color, but maybe just a bit darker. Okay. And then we want to mask. We want to mask out the cavity. It's gonna look really cool. Let's mask by cavity, invert. And then we're gonna do standard RGB, stroke method, color spray. I really like it because it adds a bit of variety. Maybe the color a little bit less, so it will be not such a big range of colors. But maybe I'm doing a bit too much. But you can see it basically exaggerates that cavity, and it makes the animal look a bit more wrinkly. We don't need to do it everywhere, just a little bit. I think it already like ups the quality. And then the eyes, what I do for the eyes, let's pick a different material, like eyeball 2, for example. Okay, and once we grab it, turn on M, material channel, because we want to work on material channel, color, and the fill object. And then when we switch to the body and we change it to whatever, to blend, for example, the eye will still stay in this state. So we're gonna paint the eye. Let's see, we got perfect reference right here. So standard brush, change the channel to RGB because we're gonna work in RGB. Let's pick some pretty dark orange yellow, like that. Then something like this. Oh. Yeah, maybe not color spray, but freehand, for example. Perfect. And then I'm gonna draw this part. Okay, and then if we want, we can just pick this color but a bit darker. And we're just gonna add these strokes. And then the cool thing is you can also paint like the top shadow and it looks extremely cool. There we go. And then maybe as an extra, what I'm gonna do is pick like this pinkish color, and we can paint. Oh, we can paint here. Around the eye. Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's looking nicer in my opinion. Like that small amount of handmade detail, it already makes a pretty big difference, and paying some attention to the eyes is also a big contributor right here. Let me pick which one did we start with. Blue gray, okay, perfect. So I'm gonna save it as save next, okay, and we're gonna compare these two real quick. We are here back in Blender and we get to compare before and after. Why is the camera moving so much? Okay, well, it's maybe not so obvious to tell the difference because I didn't make too much of a change in terms of the sculpt, but I did change a few things, and the most apparent is the eye. The eye area and the eye, I added more wrinkles, changed this texture, painted it, and I think it looks way more lifelike. Added some texture and details to the ears, added obviously handmade wrinkle detail, and changed up the width of the neck. That's pretty much it. I mean, honestly, it's a very solid sculpt, so I don't have too much to add, but you know, if you were to put more time into it, Vuk, it definitely would have looked better. But yeah, it's good. So guys, if you would like your own work to be critiqued for the next video, don't hesitate, check out the link for the Google Forms. You can submit your model there, and I'll see you in the next Gems episode, hopefully. Right, or any video, you can check this video out. It's gonna be recommended. Right, see ya, bye.